roll up, everybody. It's the 12th of May. So therefore, join us on the bus for the Works outing. I hope you got to see Vic Spanner. Hello, everybody. It's us here at Whose Views Reviews. How are you all? It is the 12th of May. And of course, today we just had to, didn't we, guys? We had to have a look at Carry On at Your Convenience. This is, I've been waiting for this all year. Welcome, everybody, to the show. As you can see, I am joined by Paul, William C. Boggs, and George, who's flushed with success. getting the gags in early. Oh, I am so looking forward to this one, everybody. I really, really am. Because do you want to know, secret Who viewers? This is a special Carry On for me, guys, because this is the first Carry On film I actually remember seeing on the telly. So this is probably my first Carry On film. There you go. I just wanted to share that with you both.
It's a good one to start with.
It is.
I was telling my wife we're reviewing this, and she said it's Dan the Lavatory man in this one. He should be, but he's not.
No, yes, yeah, no. He's sort of morphed into a designer in this one.
He has,
Oh, this is honestly. This is one of my favorites. Everybody, come into the chat if you're watching us. Come and have a talk about this. It's good to see you because, yes, we are heading back now, believe it or not, everybody, to this. Carry On at Your Convenience. Back in 1971. The release date, apparently, was the 10th of December, actually, in 1971. Directed by Gerald Thomas, written by Talbot Rothwell, produced by Peter Rogers, and, of course, the music by Eric Rogers. Starring... in fact, practically all of the gang. You've got Sid James here, you've got Kenneth Williams, you've got Charles Hawtrey, you've got Jodie Sims, you've got Hattie Jakes, Bernard Breslau, Kenneth Cope, and of course a lot more here. But I love that poster as well, actually. And this plays on the British fascination back in the days with the toilet, doesn't it, really?
Well, when it was first released, there was a national tie-up with the Good Loo Guide to help promote the film.
Fantastic.
I did that.
There's a tie you don't think of. Yeah.
That would be
Product
something
placement,
different
was it?
today. Oh, goodness. But can you imagine if you did that today? It would be something completely different and none of us would be able to watch it, honestly. No, we won't be able to review it on this show either. Oh, my goodness.
This was the film that almost brought the Carry-Ons to a premature end.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. And it had the original version of it gone ahead, it would have been very different.
Yeah.
This was Carry On number 22. It was, as it was originally announced, it was going to be Carry On number 21, and it was announced as Carry On Comrade after Carry On Loving. And Peter Rogers and Jerry Thomas announced it as a skit on the trade union movement. And in fact, that's them in the gents of the Pinewood Bar launching the film.
That is just brilliant. I love that. It is quintessentially British. I absolutely love how they thought, oh, come on. And I bet that was a last-minute thing. Let's have a laugh.
It was always going to be set in a lavatory factory, but the emphasis was going to be on the trade union aspect.
Oh, you see.
The TUC, who at the time... held massive sway in the UK. I mean, they could hold the government to ransom quite literally.
Yes, yeah.
Got wind of this and sent out to every single TUC member in the country, every union member, boycott the next Carry On film. It's taking the rise out of the trade union movement. We're not having this.
Well, yeah. And it caused a bit of a fuss. All the Carry On history books do go on about this, don't they? The fact that this nearly stopped all the Carry On films completely because they were that powerful. It's strange how things come round, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
Honestly, sad, scary days these days. Hey, listen, before we carry on with this story, hello to everybody that's joining us in the chat, because we've got Adrian James in here saying, oh, I love the Carry On films. And John Roberts is saying to us, my favourite Carry On. He's also saying everybody out. Wrong show, but nearly there. Mind you, he does say that, doesn't he?
Well, he does say
that, yeah. Marine Boy 1966 saying, I'm feeling a little bit flushed this evening, so I hope this will make me feel better. Push Laughter, hello, mate. A definite Carry On classic, although it was the first box office flop. George will tell us a bit more about that, I'm sure. Now, this is more like it, says Third Doctor Andrew. Proper British telly. Yeah, proper British entertainment as well. Forbidden Man saying to us, I've got to have a basin full of this show. You two can feel flushed afterwards. Keep them coming. We love the puns. Oh, look at this. John says, I thought I was going to miss this. I've been bogged down with work today. Oh, terrible. And smiley people, hello to you. Oh, I love this. Carry on. It's got pathos, jokes galore. It's a superb film. I love it so much. However, we've also got, oh, look at this. Mark Greaves saying to us, we've been waiting for this all day. I even tried a walkout. And Paul Schlefter also saying to me, this is my first Carry On too that I saw on TV back in the late 80s, early 1990s. Well, I think I was a little bit before. Actually,
He's
no,
a young whippersnapper there, obviously, clearly. Yeah.
It might have actually been the early 80s. I saw it. I don't know. We'll have to find. I've never looked.
If I remember rightly, I think it had its first British TV broadcast in 1978.
Okay, all right. That makes me feel a little bit old. Thanks for that. I've always avoided it for that very reason, but I'm sure that's what it was. Cara, however, is saying is the worst performing Carry On of all time. Well,
that can't be true. Surely there must be one or two others. Possibly.
No, the worst performing Carry On of all time was Carry On England.
Oh, really? That was terrible. Wait till you get me on that one. And Gary Bryant's with us saying, hello, folks. Hiya, Gary. I remember watching this on BBC One on a Friday night in the 80s while suffering with diarrhea, ironically.
Oh.
Nice. And John Cartwright, I've just finished watching it evening gang. Now, I have to tell you all, I actually watched it yesterday because I needed a break from all the crap that was going on with you-know-who yesterday. And I watched it yesterday, and I've watched it again tonight. And it's my favourite Carry On out of all of them. This is my number one. And I've been hinting that I would tell you when we got there, but this is it. This is my number one. Paul Richards is saying,
not your number two, then.
Hey!
Take your glasses back to the bar.
Yeah.
Paul Richards is saying, are we getting bogged down? Robert Payne is saying, all the puns are on a tap. I've watched this film so often, I know all the lines so well for Paul Schlefter. Oh, and Paul Richards is saying to us, excellent performance from Renee Houston. She goes from common to posh within seconds. She's brilliant, isn't she?
In this one, actually, Renee Houston was very, very unwell during the shooting of this film. She had a lot of health problems, and they had to do multiple takes of all her scenes, and the already frantic schedule was getting even further behind. Because of Renee's health conditions. And Peter and Jerry seriously considered recasting and reshooting all her scenes because of the impact it was having on the schedule.
Oh my goodness.
Joan Hickson was on standby to take the part over.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
The things he knows about this is why he's on the show, everybody. Because what a pro though, because in her scenes you can't tell. Because she's brilliant. Yeah. And I remember as a little boy watching this for the first time, loving her character because she reminded me of those matriarchal women in my family that were around me at the time.
I must admit, the way she delivers Talbot Rothwell's brilliant line talking about her late husband, where she says, it said, I had enough of that with my late husband. May he rest in pieces.
Yes, and he was the result of a gin-ridden society, and don't you bloody well forget it.
I love that bit when she's bemoaning Bernard Breslau's motorbike out the window, and she criticises the neighbour, tells her to shut up. That's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And that the actor who plays the neighbour, she's superb as well. She's very good.
Amelia Bannerton.
Yeah,
what's her name?
Brilliant.
Amelia Bannerton.
She was in a lot of stuff when I was a little boy, in the comedies and stuff, wasn't she? She was around a lot.
She was Joan Sims's mum in Camping.
Yes.
She was Charles Hawtrey's mum in Abroad.
Oh, right, of course.
She was the lady that was having a corsets fitted by Joan Sims in Carry On Loving.
Oh, right, yeah.
She did quite
this is why I know her then, who viewers.
But that scene was another reason why the schedule got held up, because when Bernard Bresslaw was offered his role, he was asked, can you ride a motorbike? And Bernard Bresslaw said, yes, I can, but he couldn't.
Of course, yeah.
Don't they all
And he shamefacedly admitted on the day that they were due to shoot the motorbike scenes that he could not, he'd never been on a motorbike in his life. He did not know how to ride one. Peter Rogers, apparently very uncharacteristically for Peter Rogers, just went ballistic on him. In fact, Bernie Bresslaw said he really thought Peter was going to punch him.
Wow.
Which is so out of character for Peter Rogers, who was Mr. Calm and Collected, no matter what. Bernie Breslau was hauled away and given a crash course in the very basics of riding a motorcycle by somebody at Pinewood Studios. And he came back that afternoon and very nervously did the shots where he had to ride the motorbike. But apparently there were 15 plus takes to get the shot in the can.
Oh my goodness me!
So were they behind schedule because of Rennie and also Bernard Breslau because of this problem?
Yeah, but they were like the tip of the iceberg with everything else that was going on with the film. The script was substantially rewritten when the film was in production to try and tone down the trade union bit,
Right.
because they knew it would dent the box office, and to try and appease the TUC. Over 50 minutes of footage that was already shot and in the can was scrapped, and new material was written and inserted very quickly. The whole day trip to the works outing was never in the original script. That was put in to cover. That was put in to cover the stuff that was taken out.
I'm gobsmacked by that. I don't think I've ever read or heard about that at all.
That's one of my favorite bits. The outing superb, isn't it?
Yes.
And the journey back even better. You know.
I mean, if you look at the film, you don't have to look too hard to see where the joins are actually. But no, that wasn't part of the original script, and over 50 minutes of material was scrapped, including an appearance by Terry Thomas.
Oh yes.
Oh
yeah. Wow.
Who played the head of the Nookie Union.
And you sent us a pitch. It's Terry Scott, isn't it? Terry Scott.
It is Terry Scott. Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah. Who? You know, there's a line in the film where Richard O'Callaghan says the union leader has just come back from holiday.
Yeah, and then he's gone. Somebody else has gone somewhere else.
Yeah, well, if you look at Terry Scott, he's looking very suntan there, isn't he?
He is a bit. You can get away with that today. Yeah. Oh, no, we're not going through that. We just had that all weekend. We're not doing that again. But this is an interesting shot here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's interesting. You can see the paintings of people. What caught me in watching this again was a wonderful picture of Kenneth Williams' granddad on the wall in his office. That's fantastic. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
It's the eyes that get me about that. My grandfather Boggs. It's really weird stuff. I thought, oh my goodness, he's cross-eyed.
Bill Pertwee also filmed a role for At Your Convenience, which was completely cut from the film.
Wow.
He was the manager of the Whip It In. That whole sequence was cut down in a big way.
Wow. Well, that's brilliant. Do you know what, though? This is amazing news for me, because that whole thing works. And, you know, the bit where they go on the works outing, because believe it or not, you young people out there, once upon a time, this is what happened in workplaces. They would go for a works day out.
Yeah.
You know, I went on one, I think, in my entire career. When I started, when I was about 17 or 18 years old, and I went on one works day out. I can't really remember it. But it did seem to have a similar sort of ethos to the one we see and Carry On at Your Convenience. And I do remember lots of stops on the way home, because it seemed to take years to get back. And there were a lot more pubs in those days as well.
And you did the luxury of doing it on fast forward in reality, didn't you? Well?
We're going out again. What? And I'm probably one of the youngest ones there, and all these older people were like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Oh, for God's sake."
And they went to Dora Bryan's hotel in Brighton.
In Brighton. Wow. Oh, God love her. The building of which, of course, is still there.
Yeah, but that at the time was owned by Dora Bryan.
It was, yeah. And she gave it to him for, was it a small fee or no fee?
It was a small fee, and they went back and used it again for Carry On Girls.
Carry On Girls, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've got this picture, actually. I used this also on our thumbnail. But for those of you outside the UK who have never been to Brighton, this is actually Brighton in the year they filmed. Look at this.
Wow.
There it is there. Mm-hmm. Hasn't changed much at all, really. The pier is still there. The Sea Life Centre at the front here, that was still there. That little clock on the pier is still there. But when I lived in Brighton for 3 or 4 years. Every time I was in Brighton, all I could think of was, ooh, the works outing. So it's amazing, really. It was a thrill. Every time I was on the pier, ooh, you know, Joan was here and Kenneth was here, and I'd go around going, no, Kenneth, no. It's just brilliant. Trying to get those inflatable Donald Ducks.
There was one thing that really took me back to being a kid was the Helter Skelter I remember playing on that as a kid and going down a little rug.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. That was great.
That was still there when I was there.
Yeah.
Okay, with a different outfit, but they still had it.
Yes, as Margaret Nolan said, "Oh, what's that sticking in me? Oh, it's only my camera."
With it being a carry-on, there's a lot of that. We've got Paul Schlechter saying here, was Dear Charlie Hawtrey at one of the pier bars when they were filming, as he's only there at the beginning of the pier scenes and then he vanishes? I did read his alcoholism was quite bad at this point. Yeah, it was, sadly, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they at one point, George, actually start writing the characters for him so they were all drinking?
Yeah, and the from the next film onwards, Carry On Matron, Charles Hawtrey did another 2. His last 2, the schedule was arranged in such a way that all his scenes were done in one block, and he was only called for a week, maybe. And everything, he did everything in a few days when hopefully he was in a fit enough condition to do what was required of him.
And maybe early in the morning before he got squiffy. Yeah.
It's a shame, really, isn't it? Cara's with us saying what is interesting is that the whole conflict over a single tap for hot or cold water. I mean, Vic is such a terrible union rep for going on strike for a single pipe, but apparently it was a real concern. Now, Cara, I don't know if you know the story about the stepladders in Doctor Who. This actually happened in trade union. Trade unions were so strict. That was a pure example of what was happening throughout Britain with the trade unions. No wonder they said, don't support this film. And they actually, as George said, they had the power then, as they sort of are getting back now, sadly, to be able to say, boycott this.
Well, remember the play school clock as well, that controversy that caused, remember?
The play school clock,
Yeah, as well.
Yeah.
He was to start it, yeah.
I mean, we've heard of Doctor Who directors, haven't we, been able to say they couldn't do anything after 10A because the lights would go off. But if they had to do something, then they had to get every single union rep to go around every single union member and sign it all off. And that would take as long as it would be to do the half-hour shooting that they needed. So they never bothered. Gary Bryant's asking us, is Kenneth Cope should have done more? Kenneth Cope should have done more. Was he taking Jim Dale's place?
Can I just say, so going off on a tangent here and excuse my name dropping, but how's this for a claim to fame? My sister-in-law's mum went to school with Kenneth Cope and was a lifelong friend of his. And through my sister-in-law's mum, I met Kenneth Cope several times, and he was a lovely, lovely man. Sadly, he passed away relatively recently. He absolutely loved his time on the Carry-Ons. He was a big fan of the Carry-Ons in the first place, and he desperately wanted to do them. And he was thrilled when he'd actually been up for parts in previous Carry-Ons, which he didn't get.
He's very funny in this one, I have to say.
He's very good, isn't he? He is good.
And he returned for the next one, Carry On Matron. And he thought, that's it, I'm a Carry On regular. Yes. And then Carry On Abroad, the one after Matron, came up. And he was offered a part in that. But unfortunately, the shooting dates clashed with something he was already committed to.
And he had to turn
it down. And he said, after that, I never got asked back.
I know, ridiculous.
He said, I absolutely loved doing those Carry-Ons. And he said, my only regret is I would have loved to have done loads more.
Of course, we know him, of course, because he was in Warriors Gate, wasn't he?
Yeah, I had a conversation with him about that as well. He
fabulous.
Was full of praise for Tom Baker. Said he was incredibly inventive. He said doubly so at the time because he knew he was recovering from a very serious illness. And he knew that, he was getting ready to leave the program. And he said, but despite all that, he was so on the ball and just wanted to make it the best it could possibly be. And he said, and he wouldn't stop at butting heads with whoever to make it the best it could be within the budget and the time available. He said, but he said he was absolutely remarkable man. He said, I was so glad I did a Doctor Who, and I was so glad I did one with Tom.
Oh, there you go.
Again, he's a lovely comic turn in Warriors Gate as well, I think, which is really
I've personally never thought he's as Gary's asking here, did he take Jim Dale's? I've never really thought that. I thought, because he made it so much his own.
But I mean, he sort of slotted into the generic young male lead, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Was Jim Dale on Broadway at this point in the sort of early 70s?
I think, by this point he was over in Broadway.
Yeah, he would have been, wouldn't he, really? Lots of you have given us some quotes in here, which is always good. I love that one. Skinheads! We've got Robert Payne here saying, I've been on a works outing, but they called it a team building weekend. Yeah, not the same
Not the
thing,
same.
really, no. I mean, when you
Not
went on
your
a
stone
works
cold sober, no. Yeah.
No. The work outings were very much like the ones in here. They were, you would probably get barred from the city or town you visited. We've got
if you were doing it right, yeah.
Yeah, if you were doing it right, yeah. In fact, some places in Glasgow still do it because they take over Blackpool.
Yes.
We used to go on charabang trips. I loved them. We got to sing songs riddled with swear words. I loved the 70s, says Smiley People. John's reminding us that Dora, God love her, was in Carry On Sergeant. She was so camp, Dora.
Oh, Dora. Yeah.
Yeah, she was so camp and outrageous. And oh, my goodness. Thanks for that, Paul Richards. We are enjoying our workers' holiday. It's the 12th of May, absolutely. There was no other time we could do this one, was there? And trivia from Yokai 63. Music briefly heard in the dancehall scene Inconvenience is an often used tune featured in the sci-fi film Quest for Love, produced by Peter Rogers, music by Eric Rogers. Both films are 1971. Oh, yeah. Really?
That, I think the cues that Yokai is referring to were originally written for Carry On Spying, turned up again in Carry On Again, Doctor, and then said At Your Convenience, and Quest for Love. Quest for Love also includes musical cues from Carry On Camping.
Oh, yes, I noticed some of that. But then I've got this lovely album, which I'll show you next time we do one of these, if I remember. It's a great album with all the cues and stuff like that. I love it. So when you hear the music and you get... Now that we've watched Carry Ons millions of times each, we all know the classic tunes, don't we? Mr.
I love it that they get a sexy tune for the tea trolley coming in. That was amazing, really.
Mr. Popperwick is also in this. Yes, the late Geoffrey Hughes, of course. Nearly misses a cue, I've always thought, as well, in one of these. You can see Kenneth waiting for the response, and Jeff's a little bit late with the response.
Where he goes, but it is our union.
Yes.
Yes, there does seem to be a bit of a pause there.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Are you going to say it, love? Are you going to do it like that? And Sam, hello, Sam. I always thought Richard O'Callaghan took the Jim Dale role for this film. Richard O'Callaghan. I mean, he's in a couple, isn't he, Rich O'Callaghan? And he's still around today, isn't he? God love him.
Yeah. And actually, another Doctor Who connection, Richard O'Callaghan's big friend of Tom Baker's.
Yes.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's fabulous. I must say, him and Kenneth Williams, though, this is so good. They spar off each other quite nicely, I think. And you can believe that in the sense that Kenneth is his dad. You know, what he's playing here. There is this sort of, I don't know, it's just this lovely sort of coziness they've got to do. But then again, the whole film is one of these, it's a cozy Carry On, really.
There's a bit that always tickles me in this film is when you're going to sign the contract for the BDs and he's got the oil well, it's a toilet. It's fantastic. I love it.
I love it. It's quite funny, that whole thing, isn't it? But everything is based around, of course, the British fascination with the humor that's around lavatorial habits in the rooms and all this utterly nonsense, really. There's so much to love about this film. I'm just stunned that you said the trip to Brighton was added on, because for me it's done so well. They're on strike. I thought they'd come back today. Oh, it's the works outing. It's so typically British, isn't it? Oh, yeah, strike's held off today. We're going to the pub. All right, come on, off to the boozer.
I think with this one, as with all the then contemporary Carry-Ons, it's a perfect time capsule of its time.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point, actually, isn't it? That's a good point. Hello to Entertainment Creator, who's joining us as well. Hello. And Paul Richards saying, an elephant could safely sit on it, not without a much bigger bowl.
Yeah. Oh, and Sid's got some great lines in this movie, hasn't he?
They all have.
I know.
I mean, for me, the absolute star of this film, who steals it from everybody else, is Patsy Rowlands as Hortense Withering.
Miss Withering, yes.
I mean,
pressing on my keys.
Yeah, all right on my keys. I mean,
it's a great line, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, to me, Kenneth Williams is a comedy god, and to upstage Kenneth Williams, which I think Patsy Rowlands does in this film, is just genius.
Yeah.
Especially in that scene, because I'm watching it. The more I watch it, the more I think Kenneth's going, "What is she doing?"
Well, it's the scene at the end of the movie when she actually she's got him in bed. He doesn't remember what happened. That's wonderful.
About Miss Withering. Silly, I know what a man looks like. You're not all that much different.
I love the bits where she says everything that you're not supposed to say. I've been working for you for 30 years, and in that time, have you sat me on your knee? You've never even pinched my bottom. Taking me for a dirty weekend. And she delivers it so brilliantly. It always makes me laugh, that whole scene. And I had to get that picture in because it just sums up. I love it.
And excuse me, I'm going to brag again for a couple of minutes. At a carry-on dinner, which Peter Rogers used to organise and host at regular intervals at Pinewood Studios, which he very kindly invited me to. One of the ones, Patsy was there, and Patsy and I recreated that boardroom scene.
You absolute tramp.
Yes, with her as Miss Withering and me as Kenneth Williams. And it was the greatest moment of my life.
Wonderful. Yeah.
That is brilliant. I love that. Oh, you've had such fun. What else we got here? Oh yeah, John Roberts saying, I love Patsy Rowlands. She's one of my favorite carry-on women. Yeah, absolutely.
She's one of the unsung heroes of the carry-on. She really is.
Yeah. And hello and welcome to Who's Views, to the Meister. And he says, as a plumber, I bloody love that film. And then he goes around saying, I was just amazed there weren't any bullcock gags. They probably got cut.
I was going to say, I don't think the BBFC at the time would have passed them as a family film.
Well, that line that Sid's got when he talks to the budgie guard, so you're about being spoilt to budgery.
Yes.
Paul Richards is saying, my mother always found the budgie scenes hilarious. Again, it's genius what they do with this budgie, because if you don't know, one of the stars of this carry-on is a budgie who can predict which horse is going to win the next race.
Little Joey. I think it's funny because I think Hattie Da's got a tiny part in this movie, and she's brilliant. What she does, just the repetition is hilarious. It's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
There they are.
Talking of what they could and couldn't get past the censors. I always found it amazing, that scene between Sid and Hattie where they're talking about the budgie, and she says, "Well, we know he's a he-bird." Cock.
Yeah.
He is the man in the hedgehog told us.
George, you sent me this lovely picture of Sid here as well with Joey. Isn't that gorgeous, everybody?
I love that picture's brilliant because I love the fact that the more money he wins, even the budgie's cage gets elaborate.
Do you notice how more markets the fixtures and fittings in the house become as he goes on his winning spree?
They're all usually tacky though, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Well, they've obviously got a cleaner as well now because everything's arranged properly, and it's at one point I thought even the wallpaper had changed, but it's the same wallpaper. But let's show that again. There's the original cage there.
Yeah.
And when he starts winning them thousands and thousands and thousands, he gets put into that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could I just say, talking about a time capsule, back in the day, we had that very wallpaper in our living room.
You did not.
We did.
No.
Yes.
I bet you had it in one of those gigantic books, George, you had to look through. You can remember the big bits of sample wallpaper.
Yeah. Did your parents get it from Fads?
I don't know where they got it from, but we had that exact wallpaper in our living room.
Oh, that is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This film is just.
We never had a budgie though.
Oh no, well, we did. It was called Yellow. This film is so packed though with so fabulous lines, fabulous performances. I honestly am so surprised to hear about the script because I love this script. It just makes me laugh all the time.
It's I think it's a testament to how good Talbot Rothwell was as a comedy screenwriter, that he could rewrite half a script while the film was in production still pull an absolute blinder out the hat. And ditto for all the cast and Jerry Thomas directing, that he took it all in their stride. I mean, I'm sure there were a few frayed tempers and white knuckles while things were going on during production. But, the fact that the end product, unless you scrutinize it, you go, yeah, I can see where something's gone there. You know, they've done a fade out to cover missing material and that sort of stuff.
Oh, I probably will never look at it again. Who am I kidding? No, I won't. Because I love it the way it is. I like this one from Paul Richards. My grandmother used to talk to her budgie just like that, really. Hello, Joey. Who's a pretty boy? Like that. Oh, no.
I also love when Joey gets upset and it's ting.
But he is a little star himself, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he is really, yeah.
He really is. I wonder how many Joeys they had in this film. Did they do a Blue Peter? I wonder. Dave Harding's with us saying, "Carry On at Your Convenience" is one of the films that hasn't yet been released on Blu-ray. Well, that's surprising me, considering that it's, in my opinion, one of the best. It's up there.
Well, sadly, in the UK at the moment, the majority of the carry-ons haven't had a Blu-ray release. There's only 4 that have as standalone individual discs. They are getting released as box sets in America, and there are stories that they are going to get a UK release as well. So fingers crossed that's going to happen.
I just hope they're in order, like the DVD box set I've got. I want them together.
They've started at Sargent, and they're working through the series with a box set of 4 films at a time.
That'll do me. Look at this. Gary Bryant saying to us, Green Shield stamps. That makes me feel really old. Green Shield stamps did that wallpaper. I remember seeing it. Oh, my God. And we've got a super chat. Thank you, Mark Greaves, for your super chat. Have I missed the Festival of Avernibble? You wouldn't get away with that now either, would you?
Oh, you wouldn't know. No.
How many did you want? He wanted 1,000 B-days, didn't he?
Yeah.
1 week, one each his wives.
Well, it happens once a year. I'm not surprised. Yeah.
It's brilliant. It is very fun. That poor fella. But yes, and here's another one of my favorite lines. Paul Richards, like 2 bald-headed convicts trying to burst out of jail.
And apparently makeup and costume went out of the way to accentuate Joni's womanliness for that shot, that she had gaffer tape sort of holding them together and upwards, so they did look like 2 bald-headed convicts. To get the gag.
That is poor Joan. Poor Joni, that is terrible. But it's a great scene because she's so upright, isn't she? She's in the right position. So it wouldn't surprise me now. Everything's there. But the way he's playing this against her, and she said, Fred, you're jealous. Well, me, we'll be seeing 2 things like that. It's just cracking stuff. I'm sorry, I'm going to wet myself. I love this film. I love this Carry On. I just love the way that it's just so absolutely 100% British, and it's just so funny.
What really tickled me as well is the titles. At the very start, you have the toilet roll with all the names on it coming down like that. It's fantastic. And then the end titles is like it's a toilet seat. It's wonderful. I think wonderful. Yeah, Lindsay. Yeah, superb. Yeah.
Again, just so brilliant, isn't it? I did consider doing something for it for like this, but I don't know. Smiley people are saying Talbot is genius. I had 2 budgies. Billy Boy was one of them until we later found out he was a she. Very modern.
Yes.
Very 21st century. It's good. Yeah, not running lightly.
And Joni's other line in that scene, well, I haven't noticed anybody prodding at my vitals.
No, yeah.
Well, if you've got the time, I've got the motion. Yeah.
This is what makes the carry-ons work for me. The double entendres all the way through. And in some cases, they're not even that, are they? Because that's what people used to do. They used to have a sense of humor, and they used to be able to do things like that all the time.
But in this, what was without a doubt the most ribald carry-on up to this point, you have the most sweet, heartwarming, sentimental scene after the day out with Sid James and Joan Sims walking up their garden paths after they get off the coach.
Yes.
And you get that lovely, lovely, heartwarming scene, even though they're talking about having an affair and being unfaithful to their spouses.
Yeah.
It's just so beautifully done. And for it to come right in the middle of, the broadest carry on to that point just makes it all the more heartwarming. I think it's just such a lovely 1 minute of film.
Yeah,
it's really beautifully played, isn't it? It's really lovely.
Yeah. And that was filmed at number 84 and 86 Pinewood Green, which is directly across the road from the main entrance of Pinewood Studios. And Carry On fans have been known to go there, ring the doorbell of the now owners and ask it's okay if you can just take some photographs of their driveway, because it featured very prominently in the Carry On film.
I was just about to say, take a note, if you're house hunting, take a note of that address, because you do not want to move there. Because for all these years now, George is right, I've seen it, you can still see it today, where the Carry On fans are going to that road and taking pictures. I'd be at my nets going, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, Pinewood Green, literally across the road from the main entrance of Pinewood Studios, was built by the Rank organisation as staff houses for all the permanent staff at Pinewood Studios.
I read this and I always wondered if that was true, because, of course, that's what big organisations did back in the day in our country, don't you? You don't get it now, of course.
Well, because Pinewood was way out in the sticks and a bit of away from civilization. Yeah. I mean, Uxbridge is 5 miles away.
Yeah. And London is now 10 minutes away.
Yeah. The Rank organisation built this self-contained little village for everybody who worked permanently at Pinewood Studios. It's since been sold off and everything's privately owned now. Yeah. But it featured in numerous Carry On films. And Joan Sims said several times, because it was used so often as a location of the Carry On, said the Carry Ons are the only films where you walk to the location.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because we're talking about how successful or lack of success, if you want, that it was here. But George, again, you've sent me some very interesting details here about it wasn't called Carry On at Your Convenience Abroad, was it?
No, it was Carry On Round the Bend. Well, it went through several name changes. He said originally it was Carry On Comrade, which became Carry On Working, which was considered to be a dull title. It then became Carry On Round the Bend, and it was going to be Carry On Round the Bend till not that long before the film was due for release in the UK. In fact, that middle image there is the original UK poster.
Yeah, that's
the Carry On Round the Bend. Posters were printed and everything, calling it Carry On Round the Bend. And then the story goes, and I don't know if this is 100% fact or not, somebody within the Rank organisation who financed the film said, Round the Bend has connotations of mental instability, somebody in an asylum. People might get the wrong idea about this.
Oh, that's true.
Even then,
yeah.
and at the 11th hour, Rank became very jittery about the title because of these alleged connotations it could have had.
Right.
So it was then changed to At Your Convenience very late in the day.
Oh.
It's a much better title, though, anyway, isn't it? To be honest.
Yeah, but it remains Carry On Around the Bend everywhere else around the world.
Yeah. So wow. So if you're in the chat and you're abroad and you're a Carry On fan and you're getting all these things abroad, is it Round the Bend with you, or does it say At Your Convenience on your DVDs and Blu-rays? Please let me know. I'm now interested. We've got a nice picture here as well from when the guys are out and about on location. Look at that. There's obviously in Brighton. This is a lovely picture though, isn't it? There's Patsy there on the right, of course, as well. I wonder who that lady in the middle is.
I think she was probably a real life Brighton cockle vendor.
I think she is. Is that a hairnet she's wearing?
Quite possibly.
Yeah,
I think
she's working with food. Yeah.
Love it. And you've sent us this picture as well, which is lovely.
The lady in the middle, in the orange coat there, Marianne Stone, who very kindly signed that photograph for me. I had the pleasure of meeting her a couple of times.
Absolutely lovely.
She's the lady with a dirty laugh, isn't she? Yeah.
Yes. To this day, I think Marianne holds the record of appearing in more British movies than any other actor ever.
Really?
Yeah. If you go and look at her credits on IMDb, you'd be amazed. I think she did about 300 films. She was never like a top name. I don't think there's ever a film starring Marianne Stone as the first name.
Wow.
She did a good number of carry-ons. She was in just about everything across the years. About the only thing she never did was a James Bond movie. And
Oh,
one time when I met her, I said to her, you've done everything but a Bond movie. And she looked at me and said, darling, they keep asking me, but I'm just too glamorous to be in a Bond movie.
Yeah. I just assumed it would be because actually it's all stunt ridden and stuff like this. So I suppose you could have had a cameo in a bar or something, couldn't you? What a shame.
Marianne's husband was a chap called Peter Noble. Now, Peter Noble back in the day was the UK film critic. And he had enormous influence with his reviews on whether a film was a success at the box office or not. A good review from Peter Noble, helped your box office enormously.
Are we talking nepotism here, John?
Well, the standard industry joke was, if you want your film to make a profit, cast Marianne Stone.
A lot of you in the chat with us. Thanks very much for joining. Keep it coming. Amare saying to us that middle poster is the equivalent of the Revenge of the Jedi poster, printed, ready to be released, and then they changed the title. I suppose it is. Frank, hiya, Frank. How are you? My dad worked at Pinewood from 76 to 81. Oh, how fantastic. How wonderful. Did you live nearby them? I'm Russ Morgan. I live in Slough. So see it quite a lot of the locations. You do surprise me. Yeah, you can't miss them when you go down there, can you? Richard Hussey saying they have gone around the bend was big in the 1970s. I'm not sure what that one is. Where else we got? Oh, says Sydney Rough Diamonds with us. Carry on at your convenience as the best pub crawl depicted on film ever.
It's the toilet stop. I love that. Brilliant.
Oh, we've got that. Gary Bryant wants to know, was this done just after Eric Rodgers and co had done their thriller Assault? I'm not sure about the dates.
Assault, I think, was 1970, wasn't it? And this was 71. It was in production May, June 71. So I think it was just after.
Right, there we go. The fortune telling scene that Paul Richard says he loves. It is another cracker though, isn't it? But again, it shows Joan and Sid having just a lot of laughs. They are laughing in that scene.
But Sid is really scary in drag, is he not?
Yeah,
he's terrible.
Even though it's very well documented that Sid James hated doing drag.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
he really didn't like it. But what you just said, JT, about Sid and Joan clearly having a great time. That again, I'm going to go back to debunking this myth that everybody hated everybody on the carry-ons and they were done in an atmosphere of pure enmity. You can't produce a feel-good film like this with that sort of atmosphere going on. It's just not possible.
Especially when you're out somewhere like Brighton on a beautiful day by the look of it.
And going back to what I said, what Kenneth Cope told me, that he said being on a carry-on set was an absolute joy from the minute you got there to the minute you left. And they were his very words.
Wow. It's lovely to know, isn't it? There he is with his Nookie handbook.
Yeah. When Marianne Stone signed that photograph for me, she said, "Oh, this brings back memories." She said, "We had 3 days in Brighton, and I think they were the 3 happiest days of my entire career."
Oh, nice.
That's nice. 3 days. That's very generous, wasn't it, for them?
Yeah. Well, that's 3 days, including travelling to and from Pinewood.
I was going to say, it's not as if they stayed, would they? It was only down the road. There's no way you were going to stay in Brighton. No, that would mean expenses. Turn up at Pinewood for 8:30, get on the coach and get down there for 10:30. Yeah, brilliant. Oh, I mean, it's very difficult when you're asked to say your favorite moments, isn't it, Whoviewers, at your convenience? Because for me, it just rattles on. It goes on, and I love the story. I'm still shocked. I love the story because I think it all makes perfect. It gets from A to B to C beautifully, as far as I'm concerned.
There was one bit I completely missed or forgotten about. It's a bit in the cinema where Harry Taube is the American scientist, sexologist.
Yes.
It's absolutely wonderful. It really is.
It's right. Yes. And Bernard Bresslaw thing.
Bang.
Yeah. I didn't come here to watch a load of people making an Irish stew.
You have to feel for Bernie in this one as well, to the character Bernie, because that bloody idiot drags him all around following this poor girl, and all he wants to do is go to the football, which they weren't supposed to go to anyway. I love that bit, by the way, where he says he gets them all out, doesn't he? And may I remind you, that were playing at home at 3:30.
Yeah.
Weak as water, those fellas. That's what they were. Weak as water. Oh, what have we got? John is saying to us, well, Assault was in 1971. Thank you very much. And Frank is saying to us, we lived in Uxbridge. Yes. Also, the primary school I went to was next door to Shawcraft Models. Oh, yeah. I've seen pictures of the old days of the school next to Oh, that little shed type thing they've got. Oh, Frank, how wonderful. That's brilliant, isn't it?
A friend of mine used to live in Uxbridge for a while, and she referred to it as an Uxbridge too far.
Very good, very good. And we've got Rory and Cheryl and friends too joining us. Hello, guys. Evening Goal. I love the Carry Ons. That is one of my favorite Carry On movies. Oh, I absolutely love it. And then they're also laughing at the word Boggs. WC Boggs. Yeah, it just all again. The script is just brilliant because of this, isn't it? Because it is funny. Even today, I suppose to some of us, it's funny because you get all these lovely bits and all the B-Day jokes and the lavatory jokes and miserable little leader and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah. His size has got nothing to do with it, has it?
What was that line I said when she comes to get him at the end? That this is a legitimate protest. That's more than what they say about you.
Actually, to illustrate how economically the Carry-Ons were made, that exterior street scene of the Spanner household, where Bernie Breslau's on his motorbike, that was on the back lot of Pinewood, and it was actually constructed for the private life of Sherlock Holmes. It was the Baker Street set.
I knew you were going to say something like that because I've always looked at that thinking that's not quite right. That looks, and I've always said no, it can't be a set because that's what. And every time I look at it, I think that's from Dalek Invasion of Earth.
No, that was at Shepperton.
The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. That's the one with Robert Stevens, isn't it?
Stevens as Sherlock Holmes. Yeah,
great film. One of my favorite.
Billy Wilder's film. Yeah.
Because it does look wrong, doesn't it? That in this film, it's not contemporary at all. It is very much out of date.
That's actually Baker Street from the Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. And in the reverse shots where the camera's on Kenneth Cope, parked behind him is a large white van. And the reason that's there is to hide a gap in the set. And if that wasn't there, you would have seen the rest of the back lot.
Brilliant.
That's a lovely little fact, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love that. Let's just talk about these two for a minute. This little cat and mouse game they're going on, and which culminates on the fun fair in the ghost train. Do you still get ghost trains? This is a nice little sideline, isn't it? It's a nice little sideline. But let's face it, they wouldn't have lasted 4 years, would they, really?
No.
The lovely, lovely Jackie Piper.
Jackie Piper, yeah. Yeah. Did she ever talk to you about this one?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
What can you tell us?
Like a lot of the people I spoke about this one, her clearest memories are actually going to Brighton.
Oh, yeah.
She said she didn't know until they got to the hotel that it was owned by Dora Bryan.
Right.
She was amazed to see how close friends Dora Bryan and Joan Sims were. That, the moment the production coach arrived and Joan got off, apparently Dora Bryan came running out of the hotel, threw her arms around Joan, gave her a big hug, and the pair of them disappeared for a gossip. She said, they were really close friends.
Really? Oh, I love that. That's very good. Oh, I can actually just picture it. Dora waiting for them at the front door of that place, just like, bless her. She was larger than life. Yeah.
Going back to Richard O'Callaghan, I think I like to think that he's the same character from Carry On Living, and he's still making his airplanes out of bottle tops and milk bottles,
It's also nice that he's remembered for these things now that he's a more mature gentleman, isn't he? Because he gets to meet the fans and stuff. I love that. It's a bit like Doctor Who in that sense.
Yeah. Again, Richard O'Callaghan's got nothing but happy memories of the Carry-Ons.
That's nice to know.
And he also knew Charlie Hawtrey very well since childhood.
Oh, did he?
His mum, Patricia Haynes,
Oh, yeah.
She did a very, very long running radio series with Charles Hawtrey, and the two of them were big friends.
What was that?
It was called something like Henry Bones.
Wow.
I can't remember the exact name of it now.
Hey, everyone.
And Charles Hawtrey was a frequent visitor to their house and that sort of thing. And he said he knew Charles Hawtrey very well from childhood.
That's lovely. There's a name though, Patricia Haynes.
Didn't Charles Hawtrey do lots of work with Will Hay? Lots of movies, Will Hay.
Yes. Yeah, he did. I mean, Charles Hawtrey actually started off in silent movies.
He did, didn't he? Yeah, I remember
how long he was going.
I remember reading all about that, thinking, exactly that. Oh my God, he was there for a long time, wasn't he? We've got lots of you in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us for our review of Carry On at Your Convenience. NPC person, welcome to Who's Views. Not seen you before. Who's getting a Nigerian haircut? Wrong show, love. Wrong show. Come out for one of the other ones on that. I love that. What is that anyway? I love that. Looks really cool, whatever that is, NPC person. I like that. But yeah, gosh, what a weekend that was, eh? But we're going to be talking about that, of course, later on in the week. But right now we need a break. And I hope you're enjoying this, because Carry On at Your Convenience is really giving us that break. It's still the same ghost train on the pier today, says Gilliam. Yeah, again, when I lived there, every time I passed that, I always thought of that scene and that. Ooh, ow.
I remember going on a ghost train as a kid. And one that really scared me, well, I went to quite regularly. I think it might be in Scarborough or something like that. That a spider's kind of tentacle or leg would come down and touch your head. It was horrible, really scary. You know?
Yeah. I'm so pleased that the ghost trains are still going, because when we were kids, of course, they were frightening. Now, of course, the kids, they'd be like, whatever. I hope there's something in there, like a real thing going boo, something like that. Anyway, maybe they'll show them Doctor Who. Carl, that's scary. Carl Goddard is saying to us, Jackie and Richard do the DVD audio commentary. It's well worth a listen. Now, I actually saw that, Carl, when I was actually, because I don't look at the extras on because I'm so intent on watching the film. That I will go back and have a look at. So thank you for reminding me. And Gary Bryant saying to us, they told the cast exotic location for this. Oh yeah, it was Brighton. Well, yes, it could be exotic.
Along those lines, Peter Rogers called that stunt on Kenneth Williams prior to this, when they did Follow That Camel back in 1966.
Yeah.
67, where Peter Rogers phoned Kenneth and said, right, do you want to part in the next film? It's a spoof on Beau Jest and the French Foreign Legion. We're going on location to do a lot of this one. Are you in? And Kenneth Williams said yes. And he put the phone down and he said he was thinking to himself, French Foreign Legion going on location. Ooh, Morocco, Tangiers. And he stopped and said, we went to Camber Sands and did it in close-up.
Oh, they were so cheap, weren't they? They were all cheap. I like this from Amaray. Chloe Moore. Oh, hello, Fred. Sid just gave me a lift home. Fred, I hope that's all he gave you. Fred is a great character, though, isn't he? Off on a sales conference.
Yes. Talking of Sid's car, when he starts winning on the GGs and he's got his brand new Morris Marina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which at the time was a brand new model just launched onto the UK car market.
Yeah.
Sid James, in return with Austin Morris, who produced the car, in return for having it promptly featured in the film, was allowed to keep the car.
Wow.
Really? No wonder he polished it.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, you see, that was a perk, wasn't it?
He
were a bit miffed at that.
Oh, Sid was very sharp at doing things like that.
Yeah.
In Carry On Again, Doctor, there's a scene where he opens a metal cupboard and it's absolutely full top to bottom with bottles of whiskey. I think it's Cutty Sark whiskey. And again, he was told by the company that supplied them, if you get this into shot for us, you can keep it.
Oh my God! It's like Sale of the Century.
Yeah. And
he manages it somehow.
Yeah. We've already reviewed it, but there's a shot in Carry On Loving where he takes his jacket off and folds the jacket over a chair.
Yeah.
And he makes sure the tailor's label can be clearly seen on the inside pocket as he puts it over the chair. Yeah. Same thing again. He got the label on the screen. he got half a dozen free suits off the tailor.
That's absolutely
Incredible. Clever. Yeah.
All tax-free.
He's absolutely terrible. Big shout out to Royal Dalton, of course, who provided all the toilets for all this. That was quite a lot as well. And when you look at this as well, I've forgotten that they all came in different colours back then, which is actually coming back now, isn't it? They're all coming back now, all these patterns in different coloured loos. Oh, everything comes around again. Perhaps common sense will come around again one day. What?
Yeah, are you telling me you didn't grow up with an avocado bathroom suite?
I think we did. They've got green, yeah. But you forget, don't you? Because you have, I mean, we must have spent about 30 years now of white. White, you know? So maybe
I remember there's an episode of Steptoe and someone, they have a black bog at one of these, and he says, on a black bath. He said, well, we wouldn't be able to see the dirt if you have a bath. So that's fantastic, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mark Greaves wants to know, they didn't let him keep the ambulance too, did they?
No, I don't think so. But he was very good, not just in the carry-ons, but in everything he did, of getting all sorts of very nice freebies for making sure that they got a good close-up on screen, either a film or on TV.
Amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. What else we got here? Duncan Funky Evans wants to know, does ITV4 still show the Carry On movies on bank holidays? Not just bank holidays now, actually. A few of the channels are starting to show. I mean, ITV channels. I noticed ITV3 was dipping into them recently, and ITV4 as well. So yeah, they're on all over the place, really. I caught one just a couple of weeks ago. Follow That Camel was on.
Yeah, the only thing is, ITV do tend to edit them quite severely. Yeah. So if you think I'll catch at your convenience on ITV4, it'll probably cut down to about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Magic Stew is with us in the chat. Magic Stew, it's good to see you. We're not talking about that one tonight. Come back in the week for the other one. Tonight we're talking about a carry on at your convenience. We needed a break, Magic Stew, from the other one. So this is coming, right? And of course, as we said right at the beginning of the show, if you just joined us, there was no other carry on that we could do at the moment, but we had to do this one today because in the film, this is the day, the 12th of May, that they go on their works outing to Brighton. And it turns out it's a major part of the film, and they have a lovely time eating winkles on the pier and drinkies. So it's just brilliant. So that's why we're doing this today, the 12th of May. We had to, really, didn't we, everybody? Captain, my captain, nice to see you. ITV3 is Carry On Frenzy, but they are indeed heavily edited badly as well. It makes no sense. The gag, I've said before, the gags don't land anymore because they take out the lead up to the gag. Yeah,
but not only that, a lot of the time with the Carry-Ons, it was the reaction to the line rather than the line that got the laugh.
Yeah,
and they took the reaction.
Yeah.
I don't know why they just don't put a disclaimer beforehand. If it's so offensive, just don't watch it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's the easiest thing you can do. Switch it off. And I'll get a sense of humor for the Carry-Ons.
Yes. And just to warn viewers that if you find the Carry-Ons offensive, grow up.
Exactly.
You have no sense of humor.
Yeah. This is how this is a British sense of humor. And if it's going to offend you, tough titty. Really. It's such a shame, isn't it? What else we got there? I hate the edited version shown. I've got the DVD box set. Yeah, you can still get it, by the way, the DVD box set. Actually, you can get it for around about, if you're lucky, anywhere between $12.99 if there's sales on, and $19.99 for all of them in one, including that awful last one from '79, whatever it was.
Actually, no, I don't think Columbus is in that box.
No, I don't mean that one. I mean Emmanuel.
No, I think you have to buy Columbus separately, don't you? I think.
Because there's.
You don't have
to. The rights for
the
rights for Columbus are held by another company.
They are, aren't they? Yeah. But I meant Emmanuel.
Oh, right.
I've never seen Emmanuel, so I need to watch it on the box set.
It's not Carry On's finest hour, but I don't think it's as bad as it's made out to be. I don't think it's the worst Carry On.
Amaray is saying to us here, eating winkles on the pier, just another day in Brighton. His revenge still right across the road. Magic Stew is saying, I absolutely adore Carry On films. I grew up on all of them. Yeah, of course. Our generation did, though. You know. We're not going to talk about the Emmanuel gays, don't worry, because Amaray is saying the Emmanuel is the Shooty and Jody of Carry On. And Duncan is saying to us, I got the box set for a couple of pounds in a charity shop a few years back. You got a bargain, though, didn't you?
Yeah, good show. Yeah.
Absolute bargain. So listen, it's very difficult to put a favourite on this, but Paul, have you got any particular favourite standout scene from this film?
I think it has to be probably it's amalgamation of lots of scenes with Hattie, Jake, and the budgie. Honestly, she cracks me up. She really does. She's so funny with that, and she's got so little to do in it, but she's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So for me, she's lovely, and her relationship with Sid in this is brilliant as well. Some great gags about the honey ring for the budgie. And she said, "You can't keep talking, keep feeding him." So if I knew that, I'd got you a ton load of them to shut you up and things like that. Fantastic stuff.
I think the other great line of that, and Sid and Hattie just bounce perfectly off each other on this, is where Sid James saying, "How about some dinner?" And Hattie Jake says, "Oh, well, I could do your beans on toast." And he says, "No, nothing elaborate, thank
Nothing
you."
elaborate.
Yeah, but before that, of course, she said when he says that, he's already eaten for me. Because everything's about the bloody budgie. Paul saying to us, Hattie and the budgie is superb.
Yeah,
why is it that why is it about those scenes with Hattie and Sid in their front room? Why does it always remind me of a Saturday afternoon in the 70s? It's just got this feel to it, you know, like the wrestling could be on, couldn't it, really? I don't know, there's just something magical and, as I said, comfortable about these scenes.
Oh, the wonderful 60s television they've got as well. Just notice the tiny telly.
Which, again, once he starts winning on the GGs, upgrades to a big 1970s colour TV.
Because they're being sport to budgery.
Exactly, yeah.
By the budgie. It's brilliant. Arlu was beige, says Farsight. I don't remember the beige ones at all. No, I do remember the green ones. Everybody seemed to have a green one around me. I don't know. Brilliant though, absolutely brilliant. There's just something so comfortable about this film. It could be because it's the first one I remember, but I just love it all. The cast is brilliant, the direction is brilliant, the story is brilliant. I love the Brighton bit. I also love the ending. This is just classic stuff, isn't it? Where, you know, it takes the girls, come on, everybody, it takes the girls to get things back on track. The Carry On films, which are always to this day criticized for the roles of the women, have a look at this scene. They are brilliant. You know, I love that. Have a look at this. Here come the girls to sort out I love it. What
and that wonderful battle axe theme that they play, which is wonderful, I think.
Yeah, which Hattie usually gets. And it's great that he's in there as well, because is there a reason why Hattie's not in this as much, George?
She was very busy doing Sykes on TV at this time, and I think her availability was limited.
Well, at least she managed to get into some of it, and made the most of it as well.
Was there any reason why Kenneth's part in this is quite small as well? No pun intended.
He was. I think it wasn't written as a particularly big part in the first place. But whilst he was appearing in this, he was also in the West End, appearing with Ingrid Bergman in Captain Brass Band's Conversion.
All right.
Okay. Sublime to the ridiculous there.
So it's limited availability anyway.
Yes, again, his availability wasn't huge at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that would explain a lot, though, wouldn't it? But again, he makes a fantastic.
Oh, he does. Yeah. But we've talked this before. Sometimes when from film to film, the kind of the side of parts is shared round, isn't it? So people get sometimes get really big leading roles and others don't. You know, and people like Kenneth sometimes feel like he's wasted sometimes, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And also we don't know, you know, Kenneth Williams and Hattie Jakes may have done more material that was actually scrapped from the film.
Yeah. And it was never kept.
Well, when Rank still owned, the Rank organization still owned Pinewood Studios in the late 70s, early 80s, and Storage Space, this is going to sound very familiar to Doctor Who fans, Storage Space was becoming a premium. They purged the film archives. And whilst they kept, obviously, prints and negatives of all the finished feature films, all the cut scenes, outtakes, and everything which wasn't actually part of the original finished film, they destroyed not just the carry-ons, but everything. Wow. So at that point, all this scrap material from Carry On Your Convenience vanished forever. Lots of photographs still survive from it. But
like that one we showed
as far as it's known, no actual film material survives of the stuff that was shot and never used.
You see, that's such a shame. That'd be a fantastic DVD extra, wouldn't it?
I was just about to say they were kicking themselves now, but nobody saw home entertainment, did they?
Yeah,
That's what
what was a few years down the line, and storage space was becoming such a premium.
Yeah.
It seemed like the sensible thing to do at the time.
Oh, bless. Robbing all of us, though, in the future.
Sacrilege.
What a shame. Yeah. What a shame. Charles Hawtrey playing strip poker with Vic's mum is funny. Bizarre, but funny, said Sam. Yeah.
Definitely bizarre, yeah.
That, isn't it? And then he starts on the bus with Miss Withering, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, you can't. We can't see it properly here, but
although that's quite funny. We asked the daughter Bernard Breslau, and he says, "Well, you come and join us, so we'll soon get those off."
Oh, I'll soon get those off you.
Yes.
Actually, like you, JT, I watched the film again yesterday, and despite that must be viewing number 147 for me, or something like that, at a conservative estimate. And despite that, it still had me laughing out loud practically continuously. But one thing I noticed, and this is very, very slight. The end of the film where Charles Hawtrey is drunk on the doorstep after the works outing, and Winnie Houston opens the door and drags him in.
Yes.
She takes the empty milk bottles off the doorstep and brings them into the house. Why would you bring empty milk bottles back into the house?
Well, she's distracted with him, isn't she? Because she actually throws him off the stairs, doesn't she? She goes,
yeah, I mean, the sole reason obviously was to have that moment where she throws them down the stairs. But you would bring full milk bottles in off the doorstep. You wouldn't bring empty ones back in.
I think she's too busy trying to put him in his place before they even walk down the aisle. Quite frankly, he's going to be under the thumb. That one. Tony Graydon is with us. Nice to see you, Tony. Miss Withering was a great character. We were talking about her at the top of the show. She is wonderful, really played by Patsy. We love Miss Withering.
Going back to Mrs. Spanner, though, we never found out how Mr. Spanner died, did we?
Yes, he was the product of a gin-ridden society, and don't you bloody well forget it.
Yeah, but he drank himself into his grave.
Okay, I just wondered if he killed him. That was all the time.
That's a bit dark, Paul.
I know, but yeah, we never know.
Paul Schlafter saying to us, I love the music in the film, the titles, the music when they go to Brighton. I have a Carry On Films music handle, and I'm always smiling when I listen to it. Yeah, is that the one with the dialogue in? Because that's the one I've got, and I do love it, because every now and then Kenneth Williams will pop up with something like, oh, no, I wish to stop doing that. It's just funny. It's brilliant. Is that the one you've got? And Paul Richards saying to us, it's a pity we lost the outtakes.
Yeah,
Magic Stew's claiming the other one. We've already done Cleo with Infamy. They've all got it. Infamy. Yeah.
I think a bit like a classic Doctor Who in the '60s. I think the outtakes are in the films, aren't they? To be honest, a lot of them. For time reasons, aren't they? And we won't go for another take. That'll do. That's fine. Let's keep going. Yeah.
Well, they did, didn't they? Because it was all they knew they weren't going to get another shot. Duncan, I always thought that if one of the big stars was missing or in small part, they were making another Carry On with a bigger part at the same time. Well,
yeah,
that never happened. The films never overlapped in production. They were always entirely separate from each other. Having said that, in the 1970s, the Carry On Laughing TV series overlapped with the production of the films, as did the Carry On London stage show. Because the likes of Sid James, Barbara Windsor, Jack Douglas, Peter Butterworth, Kenneth Connor, they'd be at Pinewood doing scenes for Carry On Dick during the day, and they would then be taken to the West End to do a performance of Carry On London in the evening.
Yeah. Well, they could get away with that because it's two different productions, wasn't it? Really, Yeah, so they could get that. Love the steak and kidney pie, said Paul Richards. It's Kenneth Cope's face, isn't it, when he looks at it? Yep.
Yes.
I love it.
I was wondering what I was going to do with your £4 this week. Take myself to the Bahamas, perhaps.
Again, just great dialogue, which a lot of the audience back then would, when they went to the pictures, I still can't get over the fact that they would have been at the cinema to see this, having never seen a Carry On in a cinema. Yeah. They would have related to all this. I love this from Mark Greaves. They went on strike on my first day. Oh, you're lucky. I had to wait 2 weeks for mine. I think it's safe to say that we really enjoyed this one then, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Hope you did as well in the chat, because I am now going to be asking you, because it's that time. It's time for the scores on Matron's Clipboard. Yes, as usual, I'm going to be asking everybody if you want to put your scores out of 10 for the scores on Matron's Clipboard into the chat. Let's have a look and see what you make of it. Paul, what are you going to give Carry On at your convenience out of 10?
Well, this is one of my favorite films, and I love toilet humor. That's just right on my street, really. So, and for Hattie Jakes alone, just for her scene with the budgie, I'll give it 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10 from Paul. There you go. All right, George, what are you going to give? Carry on at your convenience.
Oh, how can you not like this one? How can you not find it funny? I mean, I think this is a perfect example of every single member of the cast, without exception, firing on all cylinders, whether they're one of the leads or if they've got one line. You know, they're all absolutely on point. But for me, the first among equals, as I said, is Patsy Rowlands in this one. She is just wonderful. And despite all the production problems this one had, what comes across is a genuinely good-hearted, funny film. And it's, I think, probably retrospectively now, but it's one of the jewels of the Carry On crown, and I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10.
George is giving it definitely flush with success, giving it a 10 out of 10 for that one. For me, everybody, as I say, I am sure this is the first ever Carry On film I managed to get. I've now been told it was in the late 70s. Because it came on television, and I remember falling in love with it and laughing and just loving everyone that was in it. And this is the film that brought me to Carry On, and I'm so grateful that I found it back at that sensitive age. And I immediately started going an awful lot and years as I became the fan of the shows that I am. I agree with everything George has said there. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and I love the way it flows. There's something comfortable about it for me. This is one of those things that if I need cheering up, I will go to this film. And this is my favorite Carry On film. There is one other that is one of my favorites, Carry Ons. Going to leave that for when we do it. But this is a joint first for me. There is another one with it. So for me, it gets a 10 out of 10 because I love it. Let's get into the chat and see what you're all saying there. Armour is giving it 8. Roaring Cheryl is giving it 7. Mark Greaves is giving it 10. 9.5 says John Roberts. Thank you very much. It's one of the best for Gilliam, who's giving it a 9 out of 10. Killbot Kill is giving it a solid 9 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10 for Third Doctor Andrew. 10 out of 10 says Julie. And 10 out of 10 for Patsy. Oh, that's
quite right, Julie. Quite right.
Yeah. Amare is also saying there everything from Dick backwards on Matron is between 7 and 10. What? We'll come back to that. It's an easy 9 out of 10, says Forbidden Man. And then this one from Paul Richards, 10 out of 10. And lots of little toilets there. Look at that. Steve Henley is also giving this a 10. He's got the toilets there as well. That is brilliant. And Duncan is saying to us, I'm going to rewatch before I can give it a rating. Fair enough. Put it in the comments underneath the show. 8 out of 10 for Sam. Thank you. Same for, what's this? Armour. Oh, right. I'll rewatch it and I'll let you know if I raise my score. Please do. Please do. Paul Schlefter is saying, yes, that's the album I have. It's really great and so funny as well. I believe it's been deleted as well, so hang on to it. That's sad. Hello, Daryl. Daryl Joyce is with us saying 10 out of 10. It's in my top 3. And Sydney Rough Diamond is saying definitely one of the best Carry On films in my opinion. It definitely is. Paul Thomas Ashworth, PTA's joined us 10. Yay! This is our first 10. The Carcass is giving 9.5 out of 10. It's a classic. And the Copmeister is also saying 9.5 out of 10. Great scores for this. Much better than the thing we were reviewing yesterday, eh? Amazing. Any more scores on Matron's clipboard in there? Everybody? Paul Schlefter, 10 out of 10. These are great scores, aren't they, guys?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because it's probably years old. Yeah. And it's done really well, and it's always censored, and it's always been these captions you're talking about, Paul, as well. You know, this may offend you. Crap.
I wish they would show them in the cinema. I wish they just get released in the cinema and we don't see them because
I'd love
such a difference to see it with an audience who appreciate it. You know,
I'd love to see it in a cinema because I've never seen them on the big screen. Yeah. Oh, you cheeky devil, says Steve Hinley. And Sheila's given it. Sheila being the devotion 6 out of 10. Not a favourite, but 6 because I like Kenneth Cope. Oh, thanks, Sheila. Steve Henley is saying 10 out of 10 for JT, George, and Paul too. Oh, well, thank you.
Thank
you. Thank you. You can come again. I wonder which next, says Paul Richards. Will it be Emmanuel? No. What were you going to say there, George?
I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, I thought I had some sort of psychic prediction. I don't know. Any more on Scores on Matron's clipboard there? If not, I'm going to call it. Oh, yeah, I'll call it there. But thank you so much for everybody for all that. Sydney Rough Diamond, I wonder why you want Carry On Girls. You'll have to wait and see. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, everybody, because we will be doing more. Obviously, there's plenty more to come in the carry-ons. So please come and join us. If you have subscribed to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. Give this one a like. And I hope you've enjoyed joining Paul and George and myself for this little break from all the madness. It's come, guys, this came at the right time for us as Who fans, didn't it, this show?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah.
Oh, God, we need
another one after the season's finished as well, I think.
As you know, I'm giving current Doctor Who a wide berth, so I'm blissfully oblivious to all of everything.
Isn't he lucky? Yeah, isn't he lucky, everybody?
Very lucky, yes.
Yeah. Amore saying, I've raised my score to 10 due to it being, what's that? Due to being, sure. I'm not sure what that one is. Type that again, Amore, before we go. And Rory and Cheryl saying, I'm sure those running ITV would love these just to sit on a shelf and gather dust. Canal Studios are out there, aren't they?
No,
you know,
they make too much money for them to this day. The carry-ons are still a license to print money.
Yeah,
and Canal Studios, they edit them if they're so good. It's bizarre, isn't it? Really?
I know, but what annoys me about this is, you know, I mean, Paul, you and I have mentioned this before. They've got little gold mines here, like the Doctor Who and the Dalek films. They could do a little season where they're doing a couple of films back to back. Yeah. You know, at cinemas, there's plenty of independent cinemas out there now that I'm sure would take them to try and get some people in. Oh, come on. It's summer, everybody. Let's have a laugh because we blooming well need it, don't we? We really do. What have we got here? Amore also saying to us, in its performances, I'm flowing like a toilet. Well, thank you very much. Well, anybody else got any more here? Are we okay? What a great night. Thank you, says Mark Reeves. Thank you so much. Paul Richards saying, great chat. It lifted my spirits. We'll move on. What we've been talking about. Oh, yeah, some of you going through. Hello, Julianne, who's just got in, and she's going back to watch this right now. That's what we like to hear. And we love a good laugh, says Forbidden Man. Well, we need to, really, right now, after what we're watching on the other thing. Captain, my captain, does Carry On Spying count as that was deliberately black? yes, it counts. And we will be looking
very much so.
Yes. Yeah, it will be
here another classic.
Absolutely. Stay with us. Make sure you've liked the channel because, we're not going to let these go because we love them too much. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Paul, George, thank you again. What a night.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Loved it. Thank you very much.
Some great stuff there as well, George. Thank you for sharing all that. Just what we needed, I think.
A tonic, yes. Without the gin.
Yeah, we might need a bit of both of it, actually. Yeah. Well, yes, here we are. Then that was flush with success, as George said there. Absolutely fantastic. Love that. We'll be back on. Well, we're going to be back with more of the stuff from the other one coming this week. Make sure you subscribe. We will see you then. But thank you, everybody. Take care. See you soon, everyone. Ta-ra.
Good night, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.